Sounds good.
Hey, hello everyone. I see the room starting to fill up. Just make sure everyone gets in. And so that I know the chat's working, can someone please put our word in the chat? And I see a few of you that should know what that word is, so I'll wait for a second. Yes, Yvette, kindness. Exactly. That is what we value in the Fictionary community. We're all about kindness. I think everyone is in that needs to be in. So you will notice that I'm joined by a special guest. And I know a lot of you have been waiting for this for a while. I've heard Bryan speak before. He's fantastic. So no pressure, Bryan. Quick bio for Bryan. Bryan Cohen is an ad guy, author, and Blurb CEO. He's the creator of the 5-day Amazon Ad Profit Challenge, and he also runs Author Ad School, which I'm a member of and is fantastic. And that has served over 25,000 authors. Bryan has also published over 40 books, probably a bit more than that now, which have been downloaded over 500,000 times. And he is the CEO of Best Page Forward, an author copywriting agency that writes book descriptions for the self-publishing author community. So welcome, Bryan, and thanks for coming in.
Of course, thanks for having me, Shane. Happy to be here to talk about none of the stuff that was just mentioned in the bio.
Yeah, that's always the way. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to you so you can do your thing.
Sounds good, sir. All right. Well, I'll go pin myself here and go share my slides for y'all. Y'all are now welcome to post words that aren't kindness in the chat whenever you feel free. I'm a big fan of interacting with the chat as I go along. Let me just move things where they need to be so I can see them. You can still say kindness, but you can say other things too. So let's go ahead with this. This is kind of based around a presentation I gave last year at a conference talking about 1,000 true fans for authors, how to find and nurture the readers who will make your career. With me, the author of the book Self-Publishing and Email Marketing. I will mention where you can get that book later if you are interested. But I am nursing a little bit of a cold, so I am going to have some cough drops nearby. But I will try not to make it annoying. So there was an article years and years ago, a blog post that just it launched 1,000 careers because it told people that to be a successful creator, which certainly includes authors, you don't need millions of dollars. You don't need it. Millions of customers. You don't need it. Millions of fans. You don't need it. Because to really, truly make a living as a craftsperson, photographer, musician, designer, author, or really anything else, you need thousands, not millions, thousands of true fans. Because if you have thousands of true fans, you can have a career. And it's not as difficult to get thousands of true fans as it is millions. I mean, you don't need to think that you need to be these 5-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure people out there selling millions of books. You don't need that to be full-time. You don't need that to be part-time. And so hopefully that takes a little bit of weight off your shoulders here, because thousands are a lot easier to get. And we're going to talk about how to start getting that first 1,000 today. So here's what you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to attract readers in the first place. You're going to learn the free and cheap ways to start growing your email list. And you will learn how to use paid advertising to further grow that list. It's not the first thing you need to do. You do not necessarily need to spend a boatload of money to start building that list. So not only do you not need millions, you don't need thousands of dollars to start which is always a nice thing. So here's what you should do first. I'm happy to share the slides with Shane and the gang, Julie. So yes, you don't have to take notes on every little bit here. A lot of people don't do this first, but here's what you should do first. Write the emails that will go out to your readers automatically first. Create a freebie to give to potential fans. So usually this would be referred to as a lead magnet. A lead magnet is something that you give to readers who are in your genre that they would like. A reader magnet is a little bit different. A reader magnet is usually something more you'd give at the back of a book to somebody who has already read your book, and maybe it's a character you want to follow up on, that sort of thing. But you want to have kind of both, or you want to make sure that what you have fits both of those criteria. For a lead magnet, you need something. If you write fantasy, it needs to be a fantasy book that readers of fantasy would love. It can't just be some random short story. So you write the emails that are going to go out to your readers first. You create a freebie to give to potential fans next. Then you test out automation, which is available in a lot of these email service providers like MailerLite or MailChimp or ConvertKit, all of those. They have this. And you test it. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't test it first. And then have a friend test it. Make sure you actually get the free thing. Make sure you actually get the email. It doesn't have 7 typos. Make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to. Y'all, I want you to take out your phones and take a picture of this page, because all the other stuff I'm going to tell you, I'm going to demo this. I want you to take a picture of this page. Yeah, we're going to have the slides, but I want you to take a picture of this page, because 99%, I just did it, so I hope you did it too. 99% of the author community does this second or third or fourth or never. And that is why their email list fails. Do this part first. And don't forget that I made you take a picture of it. When you go back and look at your pictures and look for pictures of your dog or your kids or your grandkids, remember that I had you take a picture of this, because we want to do this first. I'm going to go into some of the stuff you do next, like building that list, but you need to do this stuff first. Once you have that stuff set up, you need to let the world know about it. Once you've got things set up, like a page where you're going to send readers to sign up for your list, doesn't need to be a whole website, just a page is fine. And you're going to give them a freebie, and you've got the automation kind of set up. And during the Q&A, if you're like, Bryan, I don't know what any of that means, I'm happy to answer questions about that too. But that's when the real hard part begins. A lot of this stuff is like one-time action stuff. You set it up, or you write the freebie, and then it's done. But then the ongoing work happens here. So you need to make sure that if you are going to let people know about your books, and you are going to let people know that you have this email list set up, you need to actually make sure people know about it. You need to tell people about it. And a lot of us are introverts, and a lot of us don't like peopling, and a lot of us are worried that people will hate us if we start selling something. But we're not even selling something. We're even just telling people, go get this free thing. So it's not so bad. Plus, if you don't people and you don't tell people about it, no one's going to know about it. And now, some people are like, well, it seems like ads are like a quick solution to this, so I'm just going to push that button and figure it out. But ads can be pretty complicated, and we're mostly talking about Facebook ads here, because Facebook ads allow you to build an email list. You can't do that with Amazon ads. You can't do that with BookBub ads. They're complicated. There's 700 courses out about them, 700 books out about them. But the easiest thing you can do, a simple thing you can do, and a more affordable thing you can do is to share your list with people on social media. So every reader that you've ever gathered on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, wherever, if you have some social media contacts, you want them moved over. What is the stat? Something like only 1 or 2% of the people that you're connected with, readers that you're connected with on Facebook, actually see what you post. 1 or 2%, y'all. But email can be more like 20 to 40%. So 20 to 40 times as many people will see your post about your book or your content about your book if they're on your email list. So if you have 1,000, how many people here? I remembered that you existed here. So how many? It's tough. It's Friday, right? How many people here have at least 100 social media followers that are readers? 100 reader social media followers. I do. I want to see. Let me know in the chat. Maybe, says Julie. Kestrel says yeah. Dawn says no, that's okay. Elaine's still building. So those of you who do, like Michelle, your goal over time is to get those readers moved over. And here's the great thing for all of you who don't yet have those social media followers. You aren't going to make the same mistakes that a lot of writers have made. So many writers, so many authors have focused on building their social media followings and have spent years on it. You get to hear from me telling you, actually, build your email list first because it's the most important. Now, when you're reaching out to social media followers, you want to be tasteful. You want to make it clear that, hey, I'm giving you something free. This is going to be great. You're going to love it. And you want to make sure that relevant readers take advantage of it. That means readers who read in your genre. Now, where are your readers? It's a helpful thing to know. It's a question that many authors don't ask themselves very much, but it might be one of the most important questions. You don't need to be on every platform. You don't need to be on TikTok and Instagram and Threads. I don't know if anyone's on Threads. Facebook. One of those social media sites likely has a higher percentage of your readers. And if that's the case, you may want to spend some time there. So it's a good idea to think about and research where readers in your genre spend their time, where they connect with their friends, because you want them to follow you in that place. For example, Facebook has a lot of older readers, a big place where romance and sci-fi fantasy authors hang out. And TikTok has younger readers, where a lot of YA and romantasy readers hang out. Romantasy being romantic fantasy. And there are certain genres like young adult that actually do have a lot of older readers. And so Facebook tends to be a place where a lot of folks hang out. How many of you are connected with at least one author? You follow at least one author on Facebook. You either see their posts and Julie says yes. And so there are a lot of folks who are doing their marketing and getting people over to their email list on Facebook. And so think about what you do as a reader, and then remember, hey, I want to find readers too. They might be on the place where you are acting as a reader as well. Also, remember, if you write children's books or middle grade, you can't really target children, but you can target people who are buying the books: parents, friends, grandparents, etc. Now, there was a question from Michelle: what if you write in multiple genres? Well, there is something to be said for having more than one email list if you have more than one genre. That being said, one of my mentors, Pat Flynn, once told me, what would this look like if it were easy? So at first, maybe the genre that you're most focused on right now, you could work on that email list first. So let's talk about spamming people versus informing them. Now, you want to make sure that your existing and new followers see that freebie offer where you're giving them something for free on a regular basis. But you can't just copy and paste the same thing over and over again. Get my free book, get my free book. Can't do that because they're going to start tuning it out. Now, with emails, I'm a big fan of the story, offer, question formula. What is that? Some of you might even follow me on email. I usually have a story in every email that I write, usually providing some kind of information for authors. Then I have an offer, which might be to get something free. And then a question to inspire feedback, to inspire a two-way conversation. So you might have a post that says, hey, I wrote this book while I was backpacking across Europe. Here's how I did it. And now it can be yours for free. Click here to download it. What's a trip that you took recently? That could be a Facebook post. That could be a social media video. And that could allow people to go and click into your offer and get your free book and join your email list. And when I say free book, it's usually a short story. It's usually something very short. What's our fiction, nonfiction split? I guess we're Fictionary. Does everyone throw your genres there into the chat so I can see kind of what the split is on who writes what. So go type it in. Dawn writes fantasy. Carol writes romance. Ingrid writes romance. Kestrel. Okay, now we're seeing some literary. We're seeing some fiction and nonfiction, literary fiction. So all you fiction authors are likely going to have a short story, is what you're giving away. But it needs to connect up with your genre. It can't just be a random short story that you submitted to a magazine sometime. So people like following you on social media if you entertain or inform. So you want to be able to reframe that offer in fun or educational ways. And you can post and get traction on an offer multiple times per week, as long as it educates or informs or entertains. So you may need to get creative with how you share it, but if you can be creative, if you can do it in a few different ways, your potential readers will continue to pay attention to you, because you don't want to become white noise on that platform. Types of posts that you can use. We'll go through these because we didn't have a ton of people who said they were had a lot of followers on social media. So I want to get to the next section as quick as I can, where I talk about some other ways you can build your email list. But you can have a simple post just that's do you like fantasy or do you like romance novels? Click here to get my free romance short story. That's a simple post. You can keep it really simple. Call to action. just tells someone to do something. You can have a cliffhanger post where you set up readers with some info from your freebie, or even maybe a section from your freebie, like some actual words from it, and leave the reader wanting more, leave something out so that they would have to get the book and download it to answer. Colorful posts, ones that are pretty or easy to read, like those Facebook color background posts. I've been using those for years. And I just actually got a bunch of people to share their email address with me from a Facebook color background post, telling them about something I was offering. So that still works here in 2023 and going into 2024. Meme posts, you could do something funny. A silly, customized little meme. I'll, find some movie or TV picture and put some funny text on it. It's simple but effective. And then polls. Readers really like to vote on things. So if you have a poll that's related to your genre or your freebie, so much the better. More posts here. These are 10 different posts you could make to help grow your email list on social media. Character posts from the point of view, a post that's from the point of view of one of your characters. Any of these could also be used as emails, folks. Review posts, if you have some books that are already up on Amazon or elsewhere, you could use some of the reviews from your books. Giveaways, I like doing these all the time. I kind of fancy myself a little bit of a game show host. And so you can have some kind of giveaway to try to boost your engagement. Personal posts, where you're sharing something personal, but it might be related to your freebie or your series so that it inspires people to maybe see what means so much to you. And then support posts. It is okay every so often to say, I would love your support as a reader. I write this genre. Please consider checking out this free short story. Every so often, it's okay to throw one of those in. You don't want to. The problem is, I think some authors just do those posts and nothing else. And so they kind of sound needy. And we don't really want to come off that needy. Now, I just want to remind you, you deserve to share your work. I know there's a lot of mental baggage to deal with. You might wonder if you're good enough. You might wonder if people want anything to do to you, if readers want anything to do with you. And there's a lot of internal stuff about that. What I recommend, you take the old We Bought a Zoo advice, the Matt Damon movie, and get some 30 seconds of courage built up, where you say, I'm going to just post this. I'm just going to be courageous right now. I'm not going to think about it until after. You take a deep breath and you post it out into the world. And at first, even just clicking the button, you'll have to gather up a lot of courage. But you're always going to feel a little fear. I still feel a little fear when I post things, but it does become easier over time. Now, I want you to remember, you deserve to share your email list, your books, to get more readers to find out about you and your work. So why don't we all go to the chat and say, I deserve to share my work? Go into the chat and type, I deserve to share my work. Because I want you to embody this. Very nice. Carolyn and Dawn and Kestrel and Catherine and more. I deserve to share my work. Exactly. You deserve it. You deserve it. And so sometimes that means posting even when you don't feel like it, because you deserve it. It's a gift to be able to share your work. Well done, everybody. From solo to YOLO. So social media posts can only go so far, which is good because some of you don't have much of a social media following. And there's only so much you can do on your own. There's only so much you can do on your own. you might need to spend a little bit of money. And even if you like the solo nature of self-publishing, and some of you I know might be hybrid or traditionally published, there is something to be said about making relationship building part of your author life. And I'm also going to heart your message there, Catherine, about the courage message, worried that your garage sale wasn't going to have anyone show up and you made $375. You never know. I had a post on social media. I was telling Shane just the other day, or just the other minute, because it was right before we came on here. I had a post on Facebook I thought no one was going to comment on, and I've gotten dozens of people with interest in sharing their email address with me. You never know until you try. And it's the same with relationship building. If you connect with other authors in your genre, maybe who are a little further along than you are, they may be able to help you to grow your readership. Now, connecting with other readers, other authors is great because it gives you a group of like-minded people to commiserate with, but there are a lot of benefits to working with others. One of those, or some of those benefits, include doing things like email newsletter swaps and group promotions. So email newsletter swaps and group promos are one of the best ways to grow your email list. And I've also used these kind of things to make a lot of new connections. Now, you do not have to be a social butterfly. You do not have to turn in your introvert card in order to connect with other authors. But if you want to grow faster, it is smart to leverage your connections with other people. Now, Rachel asks, how does Facebook email requesting work? Usually it doesn't. I happen to have a pretty big following on social media. If you don't have much of a following, this isn't something I would recommend because I was reaching out to people about something that wasn't just a freebie. But yes, I had them PM me. In most cases, you would be sending people to a website that would allow people to sign up. So that is what you would do in most cases. Mine was a special case. So, one-on-one, the easiest way to dip your toe into the shallow end is to start with a single newsletter swap. You're welcome, Rachel. So what is a newsletter swap? It's when you tell your readers about another author, and that other author tells their readers about you. So you don't actually like trade contacts or anything. You just tell your readers about the other person, and they do the same. So you share a link to a relevant author's newsletter freebie or paid book, but in this case, you'd want it to be to the newsletter free download. And the other author does the same for you. This is the easiest thing because you just have to connect with one person and then they help you out. So how do you connect with these people? You can do it individually. Just making connections, making friends at conferences. Shane and I met on social media. He liked my TikToks and we connected there. So you never know where you're going to meet people. But another option is to use a service like Story Origin or BookFunnel. Story Origin helps you to set up these one-to-one newsletter swaps. And so this can be a really good way to connect with those other authors. Now, when you're first getting started, it makes sense to reach out to potential partners when you've got a small following built up already. Now, there are some promotions on Story Origin and BookFunnel that will allow you to participate even if you have nobody. Even if you have nobody on your list yet. But they are few and far between. So it can be helpful to do the social media kind of sharing first, but it's not 100% necessary. You can use these kind of services even if you have 0 people on your email list. You will need to have an email list first, but we talked about that in that early slide. Now, when you're asking people to do a promo with you, you may get some rejections. Even I get rejected sometimes when I ask to connect with other author people. But, and this is scary, it is worth the no answers to get the yes answers. I don't like when someone rejects me. Nobody likes that. But I'm willing to put up with those because I found over the years that if you get enough no's, you're going to get a yes. If you get enough no's, you are going to get a yes. Now, there are also group promotions on those sites like Story Origin and BookFunnel. This is kind of the next level of swaps. It's called a group promo. Group promos are where multiple people share each other's landing pages or their email lists all at the same time. So 5 to 10 authors may get together and actually all share each other's lists over the course of the same month. So when a group of authors, let's say each with 100 or more subscribers, all share a promotion to their own email lists, each of those newsletters has an opportunity to grow. It goes back to my favorite acronym that I learned when I taught nature at Robbins Park Nature Center, back where I grew up. Together, everyone achieves more. Team. Together, everyone achieves more. And much like these regular one-to-one swaps, you can organize them yourself. You can just reach out to people. Before Story Origin and BookFunnel existed, I've been publishing books since 2010. I did my first group promo in 2013. It was called March to a Bestseller. It was in April, but I called it March to a Bestseller. I thought that was funny. And it worked really well. I met a lot of great people that way. But now you whippersnappers in the self-publishing or publishing industry, you get cool services like BookFunnel or Story Origin where they actually list these promos and you can take part in them. Do we have anyone here who's used BookFunnel or Story Origin to participate in any kinds of these promotions? I'm very interested. It seems like maybe not too many will say yes, but if you haven't, this is a great way to start building that list. Now, even if you do not have much of an audience, you can organize one of these things. Because if you can demonstrate that you are on time, okay, Elaine has used them as a reader. Oh, very interesting. I use both as a consumer, but not as a participant. Well, it might be time to, especially since you're familiar with it, Elaine, as you get into the author side of things more, you may find it makes sense to go on the author side and run one of these. But if you are part of one of these promos or you're running one of these promos and you demonstrate that you are on time and organized and enthusiastic, a positive attitude goes a long way, people, then more authors will want to get involved with the promos that you're connected with. And that ups your chances of success. If you're a grumpy Gus, you are not necessarily going to get people to want to work with you. The optimism, the positive attitude can make a huge difference. Now, as I mentioned before, once again, the people that you're connected with, you can make friends with some of these authors. And you can come out with collaborators and comrades from doing these promos. And sometimes doing just that, just like this wonderful Fictionary community where you've met other authors and you've got some new friends now. having these folks through these group promotions can make this whole self-publishing thing a little more fun and a little less solo. Now, all these promos have certain rules in place. They want you to share the links that other people give you to their email list a certain number of times, how many times you plan to email and post on social media. These are all parts of the promotion rules. And when you're a part of these promos, I recommend going above and beyond. One of my rules for myself is under promise and over deliver, because it will then get people pretty darn excited to work with you and to be friends with you. So when you're a part of these promos, do more than what is asked of you, because that will help. And these sites do have sort of a reputation feature that you want to score well on, but it's really about just being a mensch, being a good person, and doing what is right for the other folks in the promotion. That is really what it comes down to. Now, over-delivering pays off in the long run and will likely help you to grow your list faster and with higher quality. Folks, some of these people who use BookFunnel, Story Origin to build their list up from zero, if you have a list that's at zero, you can use these. They will do them every couple of months. I know people who have built up 1,000+ readers using these promotions. And so feel free, even after some of these promotions where you work with folks, connect with your fellow swappers on social media, deepen those relationships, and improve your future opportunities. Now, when you are promoting the promo, you want to make things easy on yourself. And this is with all emails, really. You want to make sure that you don't give yourself extra work. And so I would create a couple of templates for yourself where you're going to be sharing one or two of these other people's books or email lists. And you can adapt those promotions using, I don't know what email challenge 2 is referring to, but you can share the promotion using some of the things I described earlier, I think is what I meant, with some of those different post tactics, like the character posts and whatnot. You could share those kind of things via social media as well. Now, urgency can make a big difference with readers who are trying to take action, who whether or not they're going to download your book. So when a promotion is in its last day, its last chance, this is your best opportunity to get folks to sign up. Now, normally, getting people to sign up for your email list, there's no urgency to that. But getting people to sign up on the final day of this joint promotion, that adds a little bit of urgency. So when you are doing any kind of promos like this, connect with the more experienced members of your group promo, because they might have tips, they might have tricks. Honestly, we all think sometimes that we need to connect with the biggest, baddest, greatest guru for any particular subject when it comes to our writing and our marketing. But sometimes just a person who's a little bit further ahead than us, not the person who's on in an ivory tower, a person who is just a little bit ahead of you, sometimes is the best person to get advice from. So if you have 0 on your email list, but you know someone who has 20 on their email list, talk to them. Don't just assume the person with 1 million on their email list is the best person to connect with. Sometimes just a little bit ahead is the way to go. This is a huge tip. I want to highlight it by pausing a lot. No, it's really smart to sign up to other author email lists to see what they're doing. And if you're in a group promo, you could sign up to your other partners' email list. But huge, huge, huge tip for learning email marketing is to go find the best-selling self-published authors in your genre and sign up for their email list. In fact, I want you to commit to it right now. I will sign up to one email list by the end of the weekend. So go to the chat because I want you to learn this stuff. I want you to learn. So I will sign up to one email list by the end of the weekend. Kestrel signed up to hundreds. So Kestrel is ahead of the game. Okay, Dawn's already been doing it. Rachel's committing. Carol's committing. Ingrid, Catherine, awesome. I'm happy. Shane and company, I'm happy because even just giving this piece of advice can make a big difference. So I'm glad that y'all who haven't signed up, I see that some of you have, like Stephanie, go sign up. But when you become buddies with these other group promo authors, sign up to their list too and see what they're up to. Maybe even reply to a couple and say, oh, congrats on the launch. Those little messages can go a long, long way. Things to keep in mind. When you are scheduling things like this, only sign up for a swap that you will be able to give your time and attention to. Don't do it in the middle of Christmas week. Production calendar. If you are running a newsletter swap or promo, you're going to have to share other people's books. So make sure it doesn't happen in the middle of when you're launching your own book, because you're going to have to focus on your own book during launch time. Group projects. Hey, remember these from high school? And how one person or two people would do all the work? I know I do, because I was one of the people doing all the work. Not everyone in a promo is going to give it their all. But that's one of the nice things about when you run your own swaps in the future. When you run your own promos, you can remember. You can remember to exclude the ones who didn't do any work. And lastly, make it fun. Our challenges that we have, we try to encourage each other, cheer the successes, and keep it a positive, happy, and healthy environment, and your promotion will do better if you do that sort of thing. Now, these tactics, sharing on social media, sharing with your existing readers wherever they are, running one-to-one email swaps, running group promos. If you apply these tactics over 6 to 12 months, you can get a list of 1,000 to 2,500 readers. I've seen it happen in less than 6 to 12 months. You can gather that list. And that is what I would recommend for anyone to start. Eventually, though, if you keep hitting the same promos, you might get diminishing returns. So eventually, you might need to consider paid advertising. I'm going to go through this pretty quick because I don't think most of the people in this room should even consider paid advertising because it really is an advanced tactic. So Facebook ads, other types of ads, you need a financial buffer. You need some money saved up. But once you get to about 2,500 readers, it's time to run Facebook ads. So this is something, a squirrel just jumped in the tree right outside of my window and took my attention. Literally, squirrel. Since you might not be ready for this, just think of this as something to consider for the future. So, I know, right, Elaine? So, authors will often use paid ads to send traffic, readers, directly to a book, but you can send them to a newsletter. The indies who run these ads understand that at first this is going to look like they're losing money because they're actually investing in readers, having more readers. So they won't see an immediate financial return. It's a long game. So they use things like traffic conversion and lead generation ads to get more readers over to their freebie offer with the hopes that when readers make it through their automation sequence, they'll go buy books, review books, and eventually become fans. Now, Facebook has interest targets. 99% of them aren't related to readers and books at all. These interests normally come from Facebook fan pages, but very few even fit with the kind of readers you are trying to get. So you can look at people with interest in ebooks and Kindle, but you need to narrow it down. And usually this is by testing a set of different interests or combination of interests, like they like a particular author or they like a particular movie. And you combine these together to get a narrower audience than tens of millions of people, because that's too big. So targeting, like I said, we're going to speed through this because I don't think y'all should really be working on this. You should do the other stuff first. But make a campaign. You're going to send traffic to it. You set the targeting, which kind of interests you want, in something called the ad set. And you can pick the country, the age range, and the language. You can choose broad interests and then more narrow interests to try to get an audience that's a little smaller. And then you can create another campaign and another ad set with a different audience so that you can try to test these out over time. The goal is eventually to create multiple campaigns with different sets of ads so that you can see if one worked better than the other. You might actually compare the two and say, hey, this one got clicks at 90 cents and this one got clicks at 70 cents. So you might try doing the less expensive ad set eventually. Now, Facebook doesn't make the ads for you, although now with AI, there are some more opportunities there. You need a strong image. Usually it's not just your book cover. It's usually some piece of stock photo or some kind of artwork. There's also words that go with ads, your headline and your description. I usually just use a very short hook like free fantasy book or the meet cute from hell. And lastly, there are words that go on the ads, which can be longer or it can be shorter. Just like all of our posts that we shared earlier, all the different types of posts, character posts, review posts, all those could be ads too, the words that go with the ads. You can test different, this is where you can see that it's starting to get complicated. You can test different images. You can test different words. You can test different audiences. It's a big rabbit hole, a pretty deep rabbit hole. Now, when you're running ads, only do this if you're already pretty profitable. Save up at least $500 first. Triple check everything because Facebook spends money quickly. So make sure you're not adding any extra zeros at the end of your budget. You don't know which audience and which image and which headline is going to work the best. It's better to give everything a chance to test so that you can see if a certain one will win out. I've been wrong before. And then follow one course until success. When you're trying to learn ads for newsletters, make that your number one focus and don't try to add too many other things because it's really hard and you need to give yourself the time to learn. So there's the old maxim. If you would choose $1 million now or a penny doubled every day for a month, you take the penny, which actually leads to $5 million if it's doubled every day for those 30 days. when you start with newsletters, it kind of feels like you're putting in a lot of work to get pennies. But those pennies can double over time. At the start, a couple social media posts, a couple of newsletter swaps, you might not have a lot of results to show for it yet. But these can compound over time, eventually leading to hundreds of newsletter subscribers. And while some of these people may be reviewers rather than buyers, once you've got over 1,000 people from your hard work, all those extra reviews become totally worth it because they can help you get more sales in the future. And eventually, through your painstaking efforts, you will find the true fans, the start of your group of 1,000 true fans that you'll need to make a living out of this, who can support your career and your dream to be an author. So to recap, you can use the power of social media to share your newsletter landing page and freebie with existing social media followers. Share the same offer in a variety of ways, using different kinds of posts on a weekly basis. You can participate in one-on-one newsletter swaps with fellow authors in your genre to start growing each other's lists. You can use sites like BookFunnel and Story Origin for both those one-on-one swaps and group promotions that can help you participate in more list building activities. And when your list is grown to a certain size and your books are profitable, you can use paid advertising to further grow your newsletter list. Folks, I personally know people who have used the steps on this page to become full-time authors. So feel free to take a picture of it. Newsletters aren't for everybody, but if you like writing and you'd rather write more than anything else, you can write emails as well as writing your books. And emails still work. You can send out an email and you can get book sales. I was just talking to a friend of mine who's a full-time author, and she said, yeah, I sent out an email the other day and got 12 sales. Because emails can really sell books. So I want to thank you. Thank you to Shane and the Fictionary crew for helping me or hosting me today. You can learn more about email marketing with my book, Self-Publishing and Email Marketing. I'll throw the link in here in just a second. I'm also happy to take any and all questions that you have about email. So I do hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. And I do see some questions coming in here. Thank you for the kind words. I'm just gonna, if you want to get my book, I'm going to throw the link in here, but I'm going to make it a nice clean link. And then I will answer some questions. Oh, y'all are too kind. Thank you for all of your kind words. I do appreciate it. Here is a link to my book on Amazon. Y'all really are so kind. Thank you. All right. Let me go see what questions we got in here, Shane and company. All right. Scrolling back. Dawn asked, I'm writing under a pen name and currently have 0 social media presence. How do I start to grow an email list? I would look at BookFunnel and Story Origin. There are also some other sites that will help you build an email list from scratch. One of them that comes to mind is Book Sweeps, which is run by a couple of friends of mine, Kevin Tumlinson and Ryan Z. And you can start from scratch there and build that list. And Shane, I'm happy to keep going. Let me know if you
Oh no,
want to
we've
butt
still
in
got
at any
5
point.
minutes, so you can carry on answering questions if you're happy to.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure. Michelle points out, Newsletters do work. I know I've made most of my purchases through them. Same here, Michelle. And, you know, from the reader's mouth to our ears as authors, newsletters make a big difference. Thank you, Rachel and Elaine, for the kind words. Catherine asks, if I self-publish, does that exclude my book from a traditional publisher? Or can I use this as a stepping stone to a traditional publishing house? Let me tell you about LJ Andrews. She started in 2012 with a self-published cookbook. Took her 3 years to write her first novel. 2015, she didn't try to traditionally publish, but she did keep writing. She kept learning. She wrote one series, then another, then another. Then she started learning Amazon ads around 2020. Really started to build her list at that point as well. She had her first $1,000 a month. Within 2 years, she had her first $10,000 a month. All of this self-published. She keeps growing. She has other companies run ads for her, gets her up to $50,000 a month. She hits $100,000 a month in her last launch. Traditional publisher reached out to her and she just sold her next series to them. So sometimes people start with traditional publishing. Sometimes people self-publish for a heck of a long time, work hard, make money, then a traditional publisher or an agent or an editor reaches out. So everyone's path is different. Catherine, I don't know what your path will be, but it doesn't just have to be one particular path. Stephanie says, thank you, Bryan. You're welcome. Yvette, can you comment on Substack? It seems easier. It's all about control, Yvette. It's all about control. Email list, you have a lot of control. Substack, you might have to pay for more control, and I don't think you get the full control. Yes, Substack might be a little easier, but losing that control and being able to send exactly what you want, the number of times you want to send it, is something that can't be beat. And that is really a lot more clear on the email side of things. Email service provider rather than Substack. Thank you to Lisa and Carolyn and Deb and Ingrid and Michelle and Kestrel and Catherine and Dawn as well. Thank you, Shane, for the listing book sweeps there. Happy to take any additional questions here in these final 2 minutes. And y'all, all this stuff takes time. But anytime you see an email or a promo or something that says, you're going to get results fast, they are trying to sell you something, and it is likely that you will not have good results from it. All that you will be getting is a hole in your wallet. So, all good things take time and effort and hard work. And you get to choose. It doesn't necessarily have to be newsletters. It could be ads. It could be social media. It could be anything to grow your following. You get to pick it. It's your life. You get to spend your time on it. Try to spend your time on something you enjoy doing to build that list of followers. Do it regularly for years. Keep doing the things that work. Double down on them, and good things will happen. Rachel, I do know of Reader's Favorite. I know some people who've won awards from Reader's Favorite. I don't know anyone who's won an award from Reader's Favorite where it contributed to their book sales. One man's opinion. Link to my newsletter, sure. Easiest way is to actually sign up for my next ad challenge, which is at authorsadvertise.com. You would start getting some emails starting around in January, leading up to the next free ad challenge. This has nothing to do with email marketing, but it would get you on my email list, and you could follow some of the things that I'm doing, and we'll have a good time. But yeah, Shane, this has never happened in the history of any presentation I've done, but I am on time.
You are on time. I'm impressed. That was really good. Okay. So just to round off then, I'll let you know, and thanks, Bryan. Obviously, that was fantastic. Lots of love for you in the chat, so that's awesome. I'll just let you know what's coming up next week. So I'll be back on Tuesday with a free Fictionary software basics session. We have a skeleton blurb sprint with Christina and Lucy, where they're going to be taking a look at your blurbs. And if you're brave enough, please submit some blurbs for us. We have the Romance Writers Hangout on Wednesday. I'm back with a Power of Story Structure event on Friday, and we have the best-selling author and YouTube sensation, the fabulous Jenna Moresi, coming in on Wednesday for a return talk on writing romantic chemistry that sizzles. So that is what we have got coming up next week. Thank you again, Bryan. If you just want to hang back for 5 minutes, we'll sign off. And it was great to see everyone.
Thanks all. Oh, thank you, Lisa.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming in and doing that, dude. It was good.
Yeah, of course, Shane. Yeah. It was fun. I don't get to talk about email that much. I certainly have opinions on it.
Oh yeah, well, as soon as I read the book, I was like, oh, we need to get you to talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I know we're still recording.
Oh,
But yeah.
I will stop that.